So it's been roughly about a year since I started learning how to code, and I made a lot of mistakes along the way. I kind of just want to talk to you guys to make sure you don't make the same mistakes I made, so let's just get straight into it. So one of the mistakes I made first learning how to code is comparing myself to other people. You'll see a whole bunch of videos online, learn to code in 6 months, learn to code in 3 months, and you'll see they got a job in like that amount of time. But one of the main factors you gotta realize is, one, we all learn at different rates and in different ways. Some of those people, they spent, I don't know, 5, even 10 hours a day learning how to code. First of all, most of us not gonna have that amount of time. And second of all, most of us not gonna wanna do it for that amount of time. So it's a good thing for you to understand the amount of time you're gonna put in that's most beneficial to you, instead of doing what other people are gonna be doing themselves. Plus, for me personally, I like to have like spaced repetition. I go in and learn a couple things, and maybe I take a day or two break here and there to let the information soak in, or I don't code myself, but I read some documents to get a better understanding of some tools I'm using, instead of just trying to code every single day. Okay, so another mistake I made when I first learned how to code is I try to memorize everything. So when it comes to coding, you will not remember everything. Let's just get that out the way. You will never, ever remember everything. All the technologies in the coding space are coming out with new versions almost daily. Well, not really daily, but you know what I mean. So you trying to memorize every single thing about it is a complete waste of your time. It's better for you to learn the fundamentals and the core syntaxes and then apply that to basically any technology or language you're learning. And then you just fill in the gaps on a need-to-know basis. So anything that you don't know, you can just quickly find on Google, Stack Overflow, hop in Discord, ask somebody. You don't really need to try to memorize everything. You just need to know what you need to know to get what you're doing right now done. Everything else can get pushed on to later. Google is the best friend you never had. When it comes to coding, Google is your best friend. If you have a problem, somebody else has had a problem, and they have put it out there to try to help you solve it. And if there's not out there, there's people working towards trying to solve it, that you could probably collaborate with them to solve the problems you're currently facing. So that's another good tip for me is get good at researching what you're trying to find out. Get real good at utilizing advanced search for Google and different types of websites. For instance, for Google, you'll click the little 3 dots and then go to the time frame, and you look for different answers that's been like in the past year, past month or so, and learn how to restructure your question. Because maybe you're not finding the answer to your problem because of the way you ask the question. So another mistake I made real early on is not working on my own projects. Like, courses and tutorials are real good for learning the base fundamentals and making projects that way, but for trying to get a job or really showcasing your skills, the projects from courses and tutorials are really not showing much. For instance, if you're an employer, do you really want to see somebody say they made an Instagram clone for like the 10,000th time? Nobody really wants to see that. I know you're asking now what projects that I work on. The best tip I could give you for this is basically, whatever problem you see that a tool you like is not solving, create a solution for that. Also, any tools that you're currently using, try making an extension for that tool, so you could use to help you, during your like daily workflow or whatever it is you're doing. A big project that can help you is make your own full stack personal website to showcase your portfolio, start up a blog, just have an overall central hub for all your content and stuff like that. Start putting out content on the things you're creating too. There's 3 main things that you need to demonstrate with your side projects. 1 is problem solving, 2 is creativity, and 3 is drive to learn. And with these 3 things you do not get with tutorials. So working on your own personal side projects, those will definitely help you demonstrate those 3 things, because that's what you need to be a successful developer in any way, shape, or form. And that will carry you throughout your career, is those main 3 things. So another mistake I made early on is not networking with other developers and hiring managers and people of that sort, because once again, we're all in this typically to get into the industry, build our careers in development, and the main way you're going to get into the career and be successful throughout your career in the development space, or mostly any type of industry, is networking. And personally, I don't even like saying the word networking, but that's the main word people use. I like saying connecting with other people mostly, because networking kind of has like a dirty connotation to it. Because networking kind of has like a weird connotation to it. When you think of networking, you usually think of like most fake people ever, but that's the term everybody uses, so that's the term I'm going to use too. Now, a good resource for learning how to network, especially in the tech space specifically, is Galloway 2.0 by Taylor. He's a real great guy. He's a technical recruiter himself, and he gives a lot of amazing tips on his show, Galloway 2.0. And a lot of things I learned from him was getting your LinkedIn optimized, reaching out to hiring managers, recruiters, devs that work at the companies you want to work at and connecting with them, reaching out to devs on Twitter, just sparking conversation over comments. I have to say this, but I probably should say this, is don't be networking just to use people and get something out of them. Generally try to connect with other people. Now, the way I do this, I find like a commonality between us, or I see someone on their profile or a piece of content they put out that kind of connects with me, resonates with me, and I comment on that, and generally just spread the good vibes. And if you do that enough, people will notice and see you. And not just them, the people posting the content, but other people looking at the content themselves. And basically you just putting yourself out there to increase the opportunities that come your way. Now, this is the long game, not a short game. It will take a while, but for what I see from other people doing it, it is worth it. I suggest you go to meetup.com, go to Eventbrite, or just Google different tech conferences or developer meetups in your area. Now, most likely, for some of us in not so big but tech hub central like areas, it might be a little difficult. For instance, for me, I found one all the way next city over that I drive like an hour to whenever they have tech conferences, and I met some great people over there. And surprisingly, the main things we talk about isn't even in development. We just talk about different things in life. Now, because we're developers, there's a little bit of a sprinkle of different tech stuff, but mostly we just chatting just to be chatting. So another mistake I made was not contributing to open source. And open source basically is any type of software that people use that anybody can contribute to, but it's put out to the public generally for free. So what I suggest you do, after you have a great fundamental understanding of different coding languages and frameworks, is go look for different tools in the form of open source software that you would like to use and figure out ways to contribute to it. Two libraries that I'm using currently and learning how to use really is Keystone.js and Mantine. Keystone.js is a Helium CMS, and Mantine is a CSS library. So another mistake I did was learning different languages and frameworks at the same time. At one point, I tried learning Next.js, TypeScript, and Chakra UI all at once. It's real hard to get a real good grasp of the fundamentals of each and truly process information when you're trying to learn so many things all at once. So what I suggest you do is try to stick to one thing, maybe two, learning at the same time, and make sure the knowledge that you learn isn't conflicting with one another. So one more mistake I did was not documenting my journey in the form of sending out tweets or starting up a blog or recording more videos on the things I'm learning currently, problems I'm facing, and ways I solve those problems. One, this shows your progress. Two, this shows your ability to try new things and put yourself out there for potential employers and other devs, which in a way is networking in itself. Now I'm starting to get in the rhythm of it and trying to do it more consistently of documenting my journey, putting myself out there more, putting out more content, and not just tech content, but general life content and personal development content. So the last mistake I made I want to talk about is not applying early enough and not applying because of the job requirements I saw. For one, most job requirements you'll see for entry-level tech positions are made by people that don't know tech themselves. They are HR people and they probably just copy and pasted somebody else's job requirements because they thought it would look good and this would be the ideal candidate. If you feel as though that you can learn a lot of those requirements on the job and you have some of those requirements already, just go ahead and apply for the job. Plus, ignore the experience. Because we all know a lot of those jobs have absurd experience requirements, especially for entry-level positions. For instance, the other day I saw a job opening for a front-end developer, which I am, and it said for entry-level I needed to have 5 years experience for an entry-level dev job. It's either one, that's not entry-level, or two, somebody just doesn't understand what the entry-level dev would have for experience. Basically zero, if not one. I like to give you guys some resources that you can use to learn how to code. Now the main way I learned how to code is Zero to Mastery, and I suggest you guys check them out. A whole bunch of different courses for you to learn how to get into tech in different ways. For instance, they have blockchain courses, they have web development courses, they have different interview prep courses as well. Also, I just love how they give like a deep dive into all the topics and make sure you get the fundamentals, which I see very few other courses do. So it runs about $40 a month, but it's definitely worth it. You get your money's worth and more. So I definitely suggest you guys go check them out. Next are some YouTubers I like. One is Jasi, another one is Chris Sean, and Child Codes. I'm gonna leave a link down to all these resources in the description so you guys can check them out. So another resource I recommend you guys check out is pattern.dev. It's an amazing website and a free resource for you to learn basic fundamentals of programming, and they have a free ebook that I definitely recommend you guys read. Definitely hit me up on Twitter if you guys have any questions or just want to talk to me in general. And if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.